Can you hear?
Woohoo, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Three
BB Breakdown.
times.
Pardon?
I said it 3 times. I'm like, we're live, we're live, we're live.
You froze
Oh,
on my screen. Hopefully not everyone else's screen. Welcome to BB Breakdown 902. Every week we break down Big Brother. We're two Nova Scotia girls that have relocated to Ontario. But we like to represent the East Coast because we're Nova Scotian through and through, no matter where we're at. I'm Mel, and my counterpart, Lindsay, partner in crime, is just uploading our link to Twitter and Facebook so that we are able to have some live viewers. We're excited to get going with this week. So much has happened. It's been an exciting week. As soon as I get the go ahead from my colleague there, Linz, we'll get started with the week of Big Brother.
I'm just putting it
We've
on
got
Facebook.
one question. So, if anyone that's watching live right now has questions or comments or anything that you want answered from us live, please tweet at us and we will read your questions live and then tag you in them after. So far, we have one question that will be at the end of our show, as well as spoilers will be at the end of our show. So anybody that doesn't watch live feeds and does not want to be spoiled on the show, we'll tell you when we're about to get into Spoilerville. So we're all good there. We've got our links uploaded for all you live viewers. And we'll get started with the week of BB Can 4. So this week, Kelsey and Raul, from where we left off last, they were on the block together. Raul campaigned really hard. Kelsey kind of campaigned more behind the scenes and had Jared a lot of her work, in my opinion. And the end vote ended up being 6-1, with Tim being Raul's only vote, which kind of was shocking to me because I didn't understand where he was coming from that regard. But maybe potentially trying to sway a jury vote that he might have believed he might not be getting at the end. I'm not sure where Tim's head was giving him that vote, but he did. And Raul ended up leaving, and I think he was a little shocked. I was a little shocked because he could have really ended up staying had he won that POV and taken Jared off the block. They both would have been safe, and all three of them would have ended up staying, but they didn't end up doing that. They ended up giving the POV to Jared. What did you think about that, Lynn? Them giving the POV over to Jared? I thought it was kind of foolish.
Yeah, it was stupid. Why would you give him the POV? It's dumb. And he kind of like him giving them that POV, like got him out of the house. Like it was on him out goodbye. Like for Raul, like really sad.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't get was how the target ended up going from Kelsey in Maddie's eyes to Raul, but it did end up somehow transferring over. I think because Jared has more sway in the house than a lot of people give him credit for, or the show gives him credit for on the show.
Yeah.
We saw on the show that Kissera was the mastermind behind Kelsey staying, and I guess in some ways she was, because her and Joel are voting together, and they're this secret alliance that's actually doing quite well. Not really on anyone's radar in the house, which is a good thing. That being proven by not being nominated or even considered this week. So they're really controlling the votes, really, the way the house is going, them two. But we'll get to that, I guess. We'll get to the Canada HOH first. So we all voted. Well, we did for sure. We voted to see who would get back into the house this week, or get back into the house, become HOH this week. I voted for Nikki, and Lindsay voted for Phil. Phil and Nick. They are a duo, the Pax Bros. And we also did a poll on our Twitter page, and it's funny because our poll ended up being 59% wanting Nikki to be HOH, and the second place runner-up were the Bros with 21% of our voters. There was 29 votes in that poll that we ran on our Twitter page. And then it ended up being the Bros. Were you happy with the outcome?
I was happy with the outcome because like the two people we each wanted to go like have HOH thing different. It's just been kind of like, it's been great, but it's just it was going to be a good week, and that happy with the results. I would have been happy had it been Nikki, had it been the Pax brothers. Obviously it was. That's who I wanted in for HOH reasons or for points reasons. But yeah, no, I was happy with it. And I think they deserve it. Like, it's their time. Although they got in a huge fight today. I watched it. It was amazing. Huge.
I missed it. What happened with I guess that's a spoiler.
Well, the brothers,
but,
what happened? The brothers like had a huge fight. It was really bad. They like they threw things and like hit each other. Your brother. It was like, and then like Nick was so upset because he was like, oh my God, we've embarrassed our mother. And Phil was just being like kind of a bully. It was, Tim got involved. It was like a full on, like, just because they're like living in the same room and they're getting on each other's nerves and they're having to play as one player.
Yeah.
By each other, being around each other all the time, so they need a little bit of a break, and they just like Phil said, or sorry, Tim said, like after a while, like you build it, it'll eventually erupt, and that's kind of what happened. And they just kind of had a huge like temper tantrum, and it was like, I loved it.
So do you think that they made I believe they made a safe move this week, nominating Maddie and Ramsey versus considering anyone else up for nomination? Do you think it was a safe move on their part? Like, again, they're not really showing their full set of cards, and they still have that trust in Jarrett more than they really should, because Jarrett and Kelsey will put them on the block the first opportunity they get. And I just think it was such a safe, predictable move to put Maddie and Ramsey on the block this week. What were your thoughts on their nominations?
I think it was somewhat safe because either way he went, like if they went over here to like Kelsey and Jared, that was like, you know, whatever, predictable. And if he went over here to Maddie and Joel and Cassandra, they're not. But yeah, like I was surprised. They got Maddie because everyone hates Maddie. So I mean, whatever. I think it's not a matter of them. Like now I know this more than ever. I think that it's not a matter of them be as smart as I'm giving them credit for. And I think, oh, they're just being so quiet and they're keeping their cards to themselves. Maybe they have no cards. Maybe they're just like enjoying the process of being in there, because they don't seem to have a game plan per se. They seemed very overwhelmed and very stressed by this like responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was kind of like disappointed that they didn't even consider what they asked Nikki, what do you want to do this week if you become HOH? Like, kind of, I thought they were going to respect the fact that Canada wanted both of them to potentially be HOH and consider her thoughts on nominations just a little. They kind of just shot it down like right away. Like, there's no way I go home, so that's not even a consideration for us. And I guess giving credit to the game in the fact that no one really sees her as a threat, and or think they like the Pax Bros didn't even think they would be able to get her out. So good job, Cassandra. Like, we've seen a lot of her gameplay on the show. On the feeds, we see a lot of her tomfoolery, in my opinion, with Tim. But yeah, I was just kind of like shocked how fast they shot that down. They asked Nikki for her opinion and then just like didn't even really even look as though they considered it. But I'm surprised also at how hard Nikki's going for Cassandra. I know she is jealous of the relationship that Tim and Cassandra have, and I think she wants to be Tim's number one. But yeah. And were you? I was so happy with the reaction Kelsey had to the fact that Canada had voted Nikki and the brothers. Like her reaction was priceless. Just she looked so like just if looks could kill is the way I would describe it.
I wasn't
Tim?
surprised that they didn't take Nikki's like. They weren't gonna already. They have to. But at the same time, like they're gonna make the best move. Like they're not gonna work with Nikki. Like I think Phil thinks she's cute or whatever, but I don't think I think they both of them you're. I think it was too stressful to take in another person's. Like if that's Nikki's game move, let it be Nikki's game move, not theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But they could have shifted some of the heat off of themselves, though, in their nominations. Had they said, well, Canada voted for both our us and Nikki, and we're nominating Cassandra because, they could have shifted some of the blame. They didn't, which was honorable, I guess, in some sense. But I just think they made a super safe move, and I was wanting them to make a big move, I guess, but I guess that's just not where their head was. So then we proceed to go on. We're about to enter Spoilerville. If anyone's not following Big Brother Canada tweets on Twitter and or watching live feeds, we're about to just get into who won POV and the aftermath of that. So Ramsey ended up winning POV, and then I found out that his dad was sick and ended up leaving the game because his dad had to go for emergency surgery. So that's super sad. I was really disappointed because Ramsey was just such a great player to begin with. Like he was even keeled, and I totally understand if I was in that boat. Family always comes first, so of course I 100% support his decision to leave and be with his family. I hope that is okay with his dad and that surgery went well. I wish well wishes to Ramsey for sure. Yeah, so just I don't know what else to say. Just heartbreaking on all accords.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. You don't like to see that happen, and I think he's such a good guy. I mean, everybody in there is a good guy. You don't want to go to him. And I think, but he won the POV, and then obviously, naturally he was on the block, so he was going to take himself off, but I'm not sure. I mean, we'll find out on Wednesday, but I'm not sure if he already had decided to take himself off. It was maybe he hadn't even used it, but it was assumed that he would. So either way, a replacement nominee had to go back up because he was not in the house anymore. And they decided, the Pax brothers, to put up Tim.
And there was
beloved Tim.
Before we get to the Tim renom, we did run another poll on our Twitter page asking the people that follow us and or the people that follow the BBCan hashtag what they would want Big Brother to do now that Ramsey had left the game. So the three choices were: the jury member returns, the brothers split and become two separate players, or no eviction this week because now we're down a player. And 53% of our voters voted for no eviction this week. 26% said we want a jury member to return, and 21% of you said we want the brothers to split. So it was pretty, I mean, no eviction this week won overall, but it was fairly close this poll we ran. I'm hoping for no eviction this week now that Tim is the renom. I think that on many levels, this was the brothers and Phil mostly, from what I could see on feeds, becoming very insecure with some of the fun that Tim is poking at him and at his game, inadvertently doing so. And just kind of pointing out to the rest of the house their games and their weaknesses, and also just poking fun at the fact that Phil's brother Nick is starting to become have more of a backbone in the game and outplay him a bit. And he hasn't been liking a lot of the comments Tim's been making towards him on the feeds. He's becoming very defensive and from what I can see, just a little bit insecure, not a whole lot, but a little bit. And I think that in itself started to lose trust for Tim. And then he had this big conversation with Jared, him up, and Jared agreed with him, forgetting how much Tim had saved Jared's ass from even going on the block in the first place, which pissed me off. But so now Tim is on the block as a pawn. And this season, it has very much been pawns go home. Almost every eviction, every pawn that's been put up as a pawn has gone home. And Tim is a big power player. And I think Cassandra realizes this. And I wouldn't be surprised if her Joel, Jared, and Kelsey all vote Tim out, and Nikki will be his only vote to stay. I think that's how it's going to go down. That's my prediction. I've said it right here. I don't want it to happen that way, but I have a feeling that Tim is going this week. What do you think?
I do not think that's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen. That's my prediction, and I'm so sad about it. I will probably be crying on the next episode when we talk about this, but anyhow. If they don't get rid of him this week, he should win the game.
You haven't let me.
He's just that good at keeping himself.
I'm going to say my piece. I think, this is what I think.
Okay.
I think that Jared and Kelsey are going to vote. You can't do the brothers. Hold on. I'm writing it all out. You can't do them.
Okay.
You can't do them. And Cass, Nikki for sure, and Joel will do. That's how it's going to go. Hold on. Can you see that? The brothers can't vote. These are the two nominated. There's Nikki and Joel.
I can't see it. That's better.
Good.
That's better. Yeah. I don't know. I think Joel has been really mistrusting Tim since
that's not a thing. And no. Cass hates Maddie. She hates her.
Yes, but Joel has not trusted Tim since his HOH, and when he played that hanky vote on his HOH, he really lost trust with Tim then, and Mitch really put it in his head that Tim is not trustworthy. And Cass and Joel are working as a final two together, and they're working fairly closely. And I don't know. I just think it's so up in the air, and I'm so nervous for Tim. I'm just on the edge of my seat, not wanting to go home. I hope that if it starts to look like he may go home, I hope that Big Brother pulls the plug on this HOH and just cuts it short and says no eviction this week. You've all voted, but no eviction. So I don't know. I'm so nervous for Tim now. And just the way this season has played out with Pawns.
I'm not nervous. No, I don't think so. It's not yet. It's too big of a move. They'll get him, but not this week. I don't think so. I like that Tim went up, though, because I thought that was a bold move. But I think it's their plan, the Pax Brothers' plan to put Tim up because they want Maddie out. And if it comes to a tie, let's say it does come to a tie, I think the Pax Brothers are going to vote to evict Maddie. Like, I think, like, Maddie's enemy number one in the house. People are not feeling her. She's annoying, and now with Ramsey gone, she's, like, probably, like, super annoying. So I think they're gunning for her. That's my prediction. I would love to see Tim go, and you have one left on your roster. But I enjoy Tim in his little, like, underwear.
I enjoy that you enjoy that. It's so funny. Oh my goodness, too funny. The one question that we received so far, if there's anyone out there that's live watching with us right now, if you have questions, please tweet us before we end up wrapping up. But we did get another question this week from the Reading Cave, our faithful questionnaire or questionee or whatever you would call him. He asked us, what would you like Big Brother to do with this week now that Ramsey has left? Should they redo veto, etc.? So we kind of covered that in our poll. I just personally hope that there's no eviction this week whatsoever. Lindsay, what do you hope that they do with this week? Because they're down a player
I
now.
hope they break up the brothers. I think it's fair, and I think that's the kind of workaround that they can all work. And it would be interesting to see the brothers play separately, especially after today's fight. And the thing is like, let me be clear, I don't think today's fight was like the end of the brothers' relationships. I think they were just at each other's end. Like they were so sick of each other, they just fought. But I think it would be nice to see them play individually. I think the game would shift up a little bit, because then it would be like, get one out, get the other out. And will get to go back in because they got voted out, and that's the way it happens. And this circumstance is a lot different than like anything Big Brother. This wild card to do something like this, it's unconventional and it's not planned for. So I think they're going to stay with the norm, because at the end of the day, this is a production company and there's plans and there's people who are working behind the scenes that we don't even know. So if they scramble to do all this, I would be shocked. I really would. I think it's just easy to split the brothers up and everybody's like done. It's not Amazing Race, right? It's not like you get to the end and then people are like, oh yeah, well, like this one isn't an eviction one. Like that's not how this game's played. Every week somebody's out, and that's how it happens. So I think if they did it any other way, it's not fair, and it's not fair to Ramsey's situation, and it's not fair to anybody in the house or the jury members. And everybody, no one's hurt.
I agree with my next question is, how shocked do you think Mitch is going to be when Raul walks through that door? I think he's going to be happy in a way, because Raul got Mitch out, but how shocked do you think he's going to be when I can't wait to see his facial expression. And I really hope that if worst case scenario, Tim does go home this week, that Big Brother Canada, please, if Tim goes home this week and you don't cancel the eviction, can you consider opening a jury house feed and making that camera number 5, like you did for the suite?
Yeah.
This is my appeal. It would be amazing, because for me, if Tim goes, there's not, for me, for feeds, I'm going to have no one to follow around. I'm probably going to tune in maybe once or twice a week, if that. Like, I'm going to be bored. He is my entertainment on feeds. So please, Big Brother, if he goes, open that jury house feed. That would be phenomenal. Anyway, and to see what they get up to in jury house too, right? Like, that'd be awesome. But anyway,
I wonder what they do in jury all day, because like, are they watching like DVDs? Are they just watching Show Me over and over? Or are they like, they wouldn't have access to the internet or phones or anything like that, because they're secluded and you can't have access to the outside world. Otherwise you're influenced by that in terms of like the behind the scenes stuff. So I wonder if like what they have access to, because it would be really boring in that house with, I'm sure they must have television and stuff like that.
I think they do, from what I could tell, just from other podcasts that I've watched with previous Big Brother people, like the Shield show. I'm a fan of that, and I will do a shout out to you guys tonight, because I love the Shield show. I tune in every week. From what I've heard, they have access to movies. I'm pretty sure they have access to books as well, and they
like books.
Alcohol all the time. Yeah,
okay,
you do. Yes, you do. Look at her bookshelf shot. Evidence. Yeah, no, I think it would be fun to be in jury house, hang out, drink whenever. It would almost be like going down south, because you have a pool, you have a hot tub, you have movies, alcohol, you have your friends, because really you do become friends with these people that you live with for this many weeks, right?
Yeah.
You have the best game world, really, in my opinion. that you get to dissect and watch every week and find out the happenings of what's going on when you're not in it and help make the decision of who becomes the winner. So really, you're still kind of playing the game. So it would be fun, like really, and you get paid for it. You're still paid when you're in the jury house, even though you go home. These people are
Right.
paid to be on the show. It may not be a lot. I don't know how much they're paid because of that I'm not privy to, but yeah, why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd make the most of it. Let's put it that way. Anyway,
Awesome.
what else to say before we're off here today? I think I pretty much covered. I have made little cue cards today. Were you surprised with Tim? Tim seemed surprised too, eh? I talk about Tim one more time, but he seemed surprised of who Canada's choices were for HOH. I think he was a little shocked as well. They didn't show his reaction quite as much as they showed the obvious one of Kelsey, but yeah, I think he was a little shocked as well that he didn't get a nod of being one of Canada's favorite host guests or host guests they wanted to see in the runnings.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't. Sorry,
make our
go ahead.
predictions for Eviction and HOH.
Oh, I think
he's going home this.
Maddie. I think Maddie's going home.
I have the sinking feeling that Tim is. Who do you think for HOH next week?
Ugh. I think it's going to be Kelsey or Jared.
Yeah. I think Jared is really like hungry for the comp wins right now. So I think Jared's going to pull out a HOH win. I'm hoping for Kelsey so I can get onto the board again with the points, our pool there, our Big Brother pool that we have going. I'm pretty low on the totem pole right now. I was happy Ramsey won veto. Now Ramsey has left the Big Brother Canada house. Cheers.
Oh my God, Mel.
So yeah,
Mel, it's so sad. Your pool is like we've never had before. You're just like practically out, and it's just gonna be me counting points at the end to be like, I really, really won.
No, I literally have Tim. I have Tim and Kelsey left on my pool side, and Lindsay has Jarrett, Maddie, Joel, the brothers, Cassandra, and Nikki. I wonder who's gonna win.
I've never won before, so I'm pretty excited.
It is pretty exciting for you, but you're like dominating. You're the dominatrix this season for sure.
Oh, that sounds very.
I know. Wasn't meant to be, but anyhow. All right, so that pretty wraps up our episode this week of BB Breakdown 902. Thank you so much for everyone that joined us live and that tunes in every week after the fact. We appreciate all your support. We love getting questions on Twitter. So if you have any questions for us, our Twitter is at BB Breakdown 902. And until next week, it'll most likely be beginning again on Monday. We'll see though after Linz and I will converse about that. And we will definitely tweet it out and throw out some reminders of the day next week. And that's it. So thanks again for tuning in. We really appreciate your support from wherever you're at, sitting in front of your computer or your iPad or your phone watching us and not watching the feed. Have a good night.
Bye.